Good morning, everyone. This is the Executive Director's Report for the board meeting that's happening on Monday, March the 12th. I've had some critical comments about the background and the video quality here. And of course, I would like to fix that, but actually things are a little hectic right now and I didn't have time, and so I'm still sitting in my office talking to you. So forgive the poor quality of the background. Hopefully next time I'll be able to make it a little better. I want to update you on a few things that are happening. Of course, this is the Apple Week. By now, I'm sure everybody has seen in the newspapers that Apple is announcing a new product on Wednesday. They're here. They've been here since the last part of last week, and they're here today and tomorrow getting ready. The announcement happens on Wednesday. It's a very, I have no idea, of course, what it is they're announcing. You know as much as I do based on what you read, but so far everything is going very well. There doesn't seem to be any problems. They seem very happy. We, of course, are very happy to have them here. So they're going to finish on Wednesday, and then on Thursday afternoon from 6 to 8, we have the welcome reception for Mark Bamuti-Joseph, our new Director of Performing Arts. So I would encourage you to attend that if it's at all possible. We've invited lots and lots of people from the performing arts community, and we think it should be a fun time. Also on the front of the SFRA, we continue to meet with them. We still continue to be in communication with the city. We have transferred over to the city now. So everything seems to be proceeding exactly the way it's supposed to. We've had multiple meetings and multiple reassurances that they don't want to change anything. In fact, we're still working with Kathy Pickering, who was our contact at the redevelopment agency, so she'll, at least for the time being, will be the contact through the city as well. So we don't see any change happening there, and as I said, they continue to reassure us over and over that everything is going to stay the same, nothing is going to change. So we're keeping a close eye on that, but that seems to be going fine. We're also deeply involved in the budget preparation for 12-13. We're essentially looking at a flat budget. We aren't projecting any particular increases or decreases based on what we know about revenue sources that are available to us. So the staff has known that for quite some time, so the budget process is just a matter of getting all the right numbers into the right columns at this point, but we should be fine. I don't foresee any big problems there. Everything else is proceeding as planned. I did want you to know that I'm going to be out of the office from March 15th until April 2nd. I've been invited by the Israeli Consul General to join a trip to Israel. It's actually hosted by the Jewish Community Relations Council, which works to educate people about Israel and what's happening there. I'm actually very excited about this trip. I've never been to Israel, and it's not an arts trip in the sense that I'm not going to be seeing performances or galleries and exhibitions, so I will be meeting some people in the arts community there, but it's mainly about learning about the country itself and the issues there, which I think is going to be really valuable for us. Also on the trip are 2 or 3 members of the Board of Supervisors and other community leaders from San Francisco, so there's clearly a sort of an agenda there that I'll be working as well. So again, that's from March 15th until April 2nd that I'll be out of the office, and everything's working fine here for while I'm gone. The March board meeting is a week from today. Today is Monday. It's a week from today. I want to really encourage you to attend. It starts at 5:30. We're going to be honored at the board meeting to be able to spend a significant amount of time with the artists Aiko and Koma, who are doing a piece, actually doing 2 pieces for this season, opening an installation piece that they're also doing with the Kronos Quartet called Fragile, that runs the sort of 13, 14, 15 weekend, and the following weekend they're doing a performance piece. This is a really interesting project. They're an extraordinary artist and quite provocative. So at the board meeting, we're going to leave the board after we eat. We're going to head down into the forum. We're going to get a tour of the installation itself, and then Aiko of Aiko and Koma is going to come upstairs to the screening room, show some video, talk about their work. It's a really in-depth look at these particular artists and how they work. And I chose this one not only for the timing, for the board, because of the board meeting, but also because there's a it really crosses over boundaries in terms of performing arts and visual arts in an interesting way, and even film and video as well. So I urge you again to attend for that. During this time, we're also going to have a presentation on the internal Facebook Socialcast website and how you can communicate with each other and communicate with us as a staff in a slightly different way. So we'll be doing that. A little bit of business, but mostly our focus this month is on the artistic process, and so we'll be doing this session with Eiko and Koma. Should be really good, so I would encourage you to attend. A couple things that are coming up in this month that you should know about. The Human Rights Watch Film Festival is always in March. Go to the website. There are like dozens and dozens of films, really interesting, provocative films. As always, Joel Shepard does a great job of putting this festival together, so I would encourage you to participate in that. I mentioned Eiko and Koma. Of course, we have the ongoing Audience as Subject Part 2 and Mark Bradford exhibitions. If you haven't gotten a chance to see them, you should definitely come because they're quite remarkable, both exhibitions. And then at the end of April, which is a ways away, but I'll just give you a heads up about it, is David Zambrano, who is a dance theater artist doing the Soul Project, which is another interactive audience participation sort of thing that I think you'll find pretty interesting. I'll tell you more about it when we get closer to that. But put that on your calendar for April 27, 28. For now, pay attention to getting to see Eiko and Koma this weekend. Not this weekend, but the weekend after the board meeting, or the following weekend. That would be great. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the board retreat that is coming up. I know there's been a lot of emailing back and forth around this, but by now it's settled that we are having the dinner on Monday, May 14th at Brooke Waterhouse's Project One Space. So thank you, Brooke, for hosting that. And then the retreat itself will not actually happen until Friday, May 18th from 9 to 5. Actually, probably more like 9 to 4, but we're saying 9 to 5 to give ourselves a little time to work with that. There's a lot going on during that particular time period, which is why there's a separation between the board dinner on Monday night and the board retreat on Friday. Of course, we want as many of you as possible to attend both of these events. They each have separate functions. The dinner is more of a social, get to know each other kind of event, and of course the retreat is a working retreat. The governance committee under Diana Cohn's leadership has been working hard on this, and they put together, I think, a really good retreat. It has 2 or 3 different pieces to it. I will do a presentation on kind of the state of the organization. Where are we? How are things going? And most especially, what do I see coming up ahead for us? Both in terms of the external environment and in terms of some of the challenges that we face as an organization. We also will have a section with the curators where we'll talk some curatorial ideas and philosophies, and then we'll share with you some of the things that we have planned for 12-13. The curators and I are actually working now on 13-14 and starting to put into place some ideas and thoughts about that, so maybe we'll be able to give you a glimpse of that as well at the retreat. So that part is very exciting. And then the significant amount of time at the retreat devoted to the board itself. As you will recall, we went through this process at last year's retreat to become a sort of a purpose-driven board was our intent. And we want to spend a little time assessing that and also then making plans for the next year about how do we go forward from here, what kinds of boards activities should we be involved in, how should we structure ourselves. We've gotten a lot of information from the self-evaluations that people have done, so we want to riff off of those and see where that goes. So it's kind of a combination of where are we going from Ken, what's going on with the art from the curators, and then some good hard work from you all about the direction of the board and how that's working and how we function in the year coming up. So put those dates on your calendar, please. That's Friday, May 18th for the retreat itself, and Monday, May 14th for the board dinner. As you can imagine, since I'm leaving next Thursday, this is an incredibly busy week, so I'm running around trying to get as much done as I can before I go away. But I am here obviously through the rest of the week and then up to the board meeting on Monday. So please, if you at all can make the board meeting on Monday at 5:30, that would be great. I think you'll find it to be a really special occasion and something that you'll really enjoy. So that's about it from here. I'm around if you have any questions. I'm actually going to be out of the office on Wednesday, but other than that, I'm here all week. So give me a call, drop in line, an email if you want to check in on anything or if I've forgotten to mention something here. Okay, I hope you're all having a great day, and thanks for listening.